So find where people are at and respect them for that as well, because I don't think people respect each other enough for where they are actually at.
Hello, Squirrel friends, and welcome back to Alt Marketing School. We are back with another amazing interview, and this week is all about personal branding with a little bit of a side of teaching, because why not? In fact, today we're going to meet an incredible human known as Ella, or Ella, if you don't know her, is a personal branding and social media specialist and the owner of Much More Social, which she started in 2018. Before referring to social media training, she was a teacher for many years. And this is something we're going to talk about today as well. Ella runs individual and group training, as well as consulting on personal branding, social media strategy, and content creation. She's a lover of LinkedIn, so you hear more about that as well. But in general, it's such a fun interview, and I really hope that you're going to learn lots of things today when it comes to your personal branding, social media, content, and also deliver incredible value to your customers and clients. May today's class begin. You know what's the treat today? We also are going to cross-post our podcast from now on YouTube, which means I'm currently sweating. So if you're actually watching the video on YouTube, it's just worth for me like dancing. Because I feel like there is a song in my head that nobody knows that is just going, and I just like, I'm ripping to it.
I feel like I should join in.
Look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a party and we're all invited. So, dear listener, if you are listening only, then I will suggest you dance, whichever dance you want. If you're watching, you can dance our dance. You can even share with us your dance on social, because we would love to see it. We'll call it the Ella dance. It's the Ella dance. You're welcome. That's how we're starting today, with the Ella dance, everyone. I hope you're ready. It's the energy that we're bringing you is the Ella energy. So I'm all here for it. Ella also prepared, which I will say to the lovely guests we have, which I love them all. Not most people do listen to some of the stuff, so they don't actually get prepared for the sneaky questions. So I like it that you're ready ahead of the game with that. You're like, I know what you're throwing at me, Fab.
You've always got to be prepared.
See? Great. Lesson number 1. Excellent. I like, we're already just kind of, we're running with it. I enjoy it. I love it. But it's true though. And you know what? It's funny because I find that these questions, I'm literally like, people are literally ask the same questions all the time. So if you do listen, you actually get a bit of an idea, because people are like, oh, this is a question, but I don't know. So for example, Ella, let's try this in real life. The first question that I have for you is, you're welcome, everyone. Segue, smooth, is, what is the first job that you ever had, and what did you learn from it? So let's see how we slide straight into this.
Oh, right. Well, the first job I had was when I was 15, and I was desperate to go on a skiing holiday, and my mum and dad didn't want to pay. So I thought, I know, I'll go and get a job and show them how keen I am to go on this skiing holiday. And dear listener, I'm pretty old. So this job didn't pay very well. In fact, I got paid £6 for the day. working in a boutique on a Saturday.
Jeez.
Yeah, £6 a day. But that was a lot of money in the 1980s. But yeah, I learned. It was great. And honestly, talking about dancing, Fab, I remember I worked with a young lady. I've forgotten her name now, but she was meant to be my boss. And we would just spend most of our time dancing around the rails because we didn't have many customers. So we spent most of the day dancing around the clothes and listening to the radio and stuff. What a way to earn.
Is this basically what you learned then? You actually learned dance moves. Is that what you're going to say to me? This first job taught you the importance of having the right dance moves for any occasion.
Exactly. I think that's what it is. We used to stand there making up dances.
I think if anything, it probably matches your personality, which hopefully the listeners are already kind of getting accustomed to. So I'm absolutely all here for it. I remember when I was picking up pairs as one of my first jobs, and I talk about social in one of my books, but I remember that you had to do anything you could to actually keep yourself entertained. And as soon as something caught on, which was actually people we knew, but our employers, you would call them, they would just catch on and be like, no, you can't listen to music anymore. It's too distracting. And we're just like, We are dying in like 40 degrees heat. Please let me have some joy in life. So we were trying to sneakily do things that were fun just to make sure that we're not going literally mad. And it was so fun. They were like, no more music. I was like, what? No. So resourcefulness came to mind.
Yeah,
that was one of my things.
Got to happen.
So now even more curious about the second question then. Ella, we're kind of setting the bar high now. I want to know a trivia category that you'd be really good at and why. You can even create your own trivia category. You don't have to go with Trivial Pursuit if you want. You can be creative. I'll take it.
Well, that's easy. That's easy, Fab, because as I say, I'm really into dancing. I'm really into arts. So it would be probably something related to music, probably 1980s music, 1990s music. I used to know the lyrics to so many songs. In fact, I probably do know the lyrics, song lyrics from the 1980s. There you go.
Amazing. So now my question is, excellent. Now my question is, perfect high-pop song. I'll tell you why. We have high-pop songs for each student at Alt Marketing School, and then we play them at the beginning of the lessons. So what would be your perfect high-pop song, again, from the 80s? Anybody who needs a bit of hype for the day.
Well, oh goodness me, there's so many great artists. In fact, can I choose? I think this might be a slight 90s artist actually, rather than 80s. But I really do like. I do like Ride on Time, Black Box.
Nice.
It just always gets me, that song. You know, as soon as it comes on. Yeah. So yeah.
I love it. I'll take it. I love it. That's excellent. Again, I'm a big music fan, so whenever somebody mentions music, I have to go deeper. It's like that's my wheelhouse. I'm like, let's go for it. So absolutely love it. So anybody, dear listener, if you needed a hype song for the day, you are very welcome. And that leads me to my final, I guess, question to warm us up. Not that we needed it, but obviously as a school, we encourage people to market to hearts, not to brains, which again, Ella knows because you were one of our experts as well for our cohorts. So thank you again for that. It was an absolute pleasure to have you. So I wonder, what about you, Ella? How do you make a positive impact on your audience? What does that mean to you? Making a positive impact on your audience, and why?
I would definitely say treat everybody as an individual. Everybody is different. Everybody experiences life in a different way, has different things that have happened to them, has different ambitions, goals, motivations, different and also different levels of ability. So find where people are at and respect them for that as well, because I don't think people respect each other enough for where they are actually at. And you'll find this as I'm talking this afternoon, Fab, about my teacher background will come out, and you've always got to you've got to start where your learner is at, because then that's you're starting from a place where they can grow.
I absolutely love that. And it's kind of funny because I'm almost in reverse. I studied to be a teacher when it came to my degree. Obviously it was languages, but also with pedagogy in it for like teaching languages. But I became a teacher almost like not by mistake, but on the upside, because I love teaching what I know. So I was an expert first, and then I just became a teacher, but not I didn't go for the academic sense in the end. I just said that, bye. But I think, it's like, not for me. But what I resonate with is that even if I'm a teacher that almost like fell into teaching in a different way, I genuinely see that, and I see how when you speak to teachers, and we had a couple of people that define themselves as teacher, whether it's fully academically or just by kind of like harnessing the craft when it comes to marketers. And there's, I think, a different level of understanding. And it's almost like the teachers actually, the skill set that you have is beautiful, because we'll see it today as well. It really helps us understanding how to engage with our audience in the online world, because I think that's one of the things that we forget when we see the screen. We forget the individuals. And obviously, when it comes to being a facilitator or a teacher, especially, or even like a leader in some ways, you need to remember that there are people behind those screens. And as you say, we need to cater for them in a way that they feel seen and understood. So I love that you brought that in, because I think it also ties in with your expertise, which is a personal branding side of it. Just like they're unique, you are unique. So when you showcase that, then people will relate to you because they will see the uniqueness in you, which I think is really important. So thank you for bringing them up, because obviously something I'm really passionate about.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
Class in session time. We're asking you to become a teacher again, and you only have 1 minute though to do so. Ella, what is the one thing that you can teach our listeners and obviously our students in 1 minute or so about marketing? If there's one thing that you can teach them, what would it be?
Always remember that there's people who you are marketing to, and that you are a person as well. So that's where this whole thing about people buy from people comes in, and that's why personal branding matters so much. Even if you are selling a product, even if you're selling a service, people want to know the person behind that. And so connect with people, find your tribe, talk to them, have conversations, and that's where the marketing journey really starts to take off. That's where it really begins. Don't know if that's 1 minute.
It was roughly. That's great. I mean, I love it. You kind of went concise and you gave us everything we needed. And now actually I'm going to piggyback onto that because I love it. And I think we both talked about personal branding in a way, in some ways from the storytelling piece as well. But I love the fact that we're bringing it back to kind of talking and connections. And I wanted to ask you, how do you find people are balancing their personal brand and their personal branding with also potentially, the marketing and the branding and the focus on whether it's their product or even like their business? Some of us actually wearing different hats. So how are you finding if somebody wanted to actually invest more time into doing that, into creating that one-to-one connection to do that, but at the same time also make sure that the marketing works on a macro level when it comes to, let's say, their individual products or businesses? What's the balance there? What can we do?
Well, I think it's really important to obviously remember you've got your product, you've got your service, and that when you're promoting that, when you're selling it, that you're selling it to people who you've identified what their need is, you've identified what their pain point is, and so that product and service is hopefully going to match what the problem that they want solving, the transformation that they want. So that keeps your product and service right at the center of your marketing. But it's the personal brand, which is the kind of sort of communication piece around that, because we need those human conversations. We need that understanding on a human level. That's where the customer feels, or client feels, that they've been understood, because it's not just here's this product, here's this service, buy it, it will do this, it will do that for you. It's actually somebody saying, what's your how do you want to use this? If I sell this product to you, how's it going to benefit you? But not just that, it's also what comes after. It's how did you find using it? Is there something else that we can help you with? Did it meet your satisfaction requirements and everything else? One of the things I get so frustrated about at the moment, Fab, with customer service is we don't take customers on that journey of customer service. It's like, right, wham bam, sell people something, that's it, done. And I think people are looking for more than that, because when we build up those conversations with people, and when we talk to them in that after sales piece, and we get their feedback, we get feedback on the things that they liked about it or the things that could be improved. That means then we can improve what we're doing, but we can also reward those customers with, loyalty offers, or anything really to sort of like keep that customer as our advocate. So I think that's why, conversations around our products and services, that's where the personal branding piece comes in.
I'm obsessed. Okay, I'm going to do a dance. Today's the day of dances, everyone. It's just, like, if you're watching videos, then there is like another happy dance. Like, happy dances are my jam. Because Ella said something that we talk about. So if you're a student or a graduate, I would say as well, of the school, you know this really well. When we talk about marketing funnels, which if you're new to marketing, hello, it's the journey that we're taking our audience that goes from awareness all the way to advocacy. It's really important that when we take our audience through that marketing funnel and that journey, we don't forget about retention, which is exactly what you, Ella, said, the loyalty and advocacy. And that's really what we base our projects and all our content, and even obviously the lessons that we teach in the school, because I think that's what we tend to forget. And I love that you said it, because that's literally at the core of our marketing funnels lesson. So spoiler alert for any new students coming in, but because it's important, and I love that you mentioned it, is like, it's great that we get people through the door, but then how do we keep them there now that we actually build that relationship with them? Because that's probably the step where that relationship will strengthen, because your customers now are really attentive because they paid you money for something, they invested in you. So this is a great time to actually deliver to them, which I absolutely love. So that's an excellent point. Thank you for sharing that. Now, my second question is about unlearning. I'm going to go the other way around. So Ella, what is, I know, right? Something that you unlearned recently, and how has it improved either the quality of your life or your work?
Oh, I love that question. I love kind of like questions that are turned topsy-turvy like that. Unlearning, there's so, we have so many bad habits as human beings. We have so many troughs that we fall into, and then we can't climb out of them because we think we've got to do it that way. And I think that's one of the things that I have unlearned, is that I don't have to do it that way. I don't have to, I don't, not necessarily that I don't have to listen to people. I will listen, but then I've got to make a decision for me. And I think, especially with me working in social media, which is my main marketing channel that I hang around on a lot of the time, 90% of the time, it's that I've got to learn to step away from it, or and stepping away from it doesn't mean necessarily the fact that I'm I switch it off from it completely, but it's just I know when to sort of like take a step back from it and think, right, okay, today, I didn't post on that channel for a whole week, or that platform for a whole week. What does it matter? It doesn't matter that I didn't post on Instagram for a whole week, or I didn't post on LinkedIn for a whole week, or whatever it is, as long as people know that I'm still there. And so what I'll do is I'll go and do a bit of messaging instead, or comment on a few posts, or whatever it is. Or I'll go and find some post that I posted from 6 months ago and repost it again. But I just think there is running your own business, especially if you're going to run your own business, or if you're in an important role, which everyone's role is important, but if you're in an important role in a marketing team and you're finding it a bit overwhelming, then you've just got to have the courage to say, look, hold on a minute, this is too much, or we need to revisit, we need to reassess this. And I think that's one of the things that I've managed to unlearn, is stop being a people pleaser. That's what I would say.
Excellent. Again, t-shirts being built. Stop being a people pleaser, especially as a marketer. I would say that would be like the,
God, yeah.
In the little brackets, like, especially as a marketer, because I genuinely think that's one of the biggest issues that I find, is that we don't talk about it enough, of the pressure that we feel as marketers, especially when most of our job is actually people job. We don't think about it, but a lot of it's conversation. So I love that you mentioned that, because I think it's an excellent reminder of not making assumptions of either ourselves or others that work in marketing, and also taking a step back and be kinder to ourselves, because actually it's a lot more demanding than what we think. So thank you for reminding us of that. Final question is about other teachers. Yes, we're going there. So what is the biggest lesson that a teacher or a mentor has taught you instead?
One of the things that I do as part of my work is I deliver training for other training providers. And one of the valuable things about doing that is that people assess your work. I've been observed. And I've had, I've had sort of like, I've had my lessons critiqued and things like that. And one of the recent lessons that I was taught by another mentor was about the importance of checking that your learners this is an important one for the alt marketing school, and I know you'll do this, Fab, checking that your learners are on board with you the whole time, that they're not getting lost. It's really, really important, that sort of continuous assessment, even during a lesson, even during a session, because again, that important focus on the learner as an individual, and not everybody will be keeping up with what's being said. Some people will have missed a bit, or misinterpreted a bit, or misunderstood a bit. So if you keep going back and checking and making sure that they've understood, everyone is hopefully going to get to be a sort of somewhere near the same stage by the end of the lesson. That's what I think one of the things that I know I need to do more of, definitely, in all my delivery of training.
I love that. And I'm going to say, I mean, not to be humble right now, but we do this a lot. And I personally do this a lot because we introduce new concepts. And so we have students that are more beginner levels, but also the main thing is for upskilling marketers. But some beginners still want to learn as much as possible. So they come in, and obviously they are at a different level than our upskilling marketeers. So what I make sure is that if I'm introducing a new concept, I make sure that if people know, I want to see, I like do little reactions on Zoom, like a set of hands, see who knows what. And so I love that you mentioned this, because this is not just important for people like us. So again, thank you for the reminder. And I'm just glad that instinctively I do it, because it makes me feel better about that, because it's important. But also I would say this also translates really well when you're creating content as well. Remembering that if you're talking to people at different levels, you want to make sure that your content can resonate with them. If you're talking to people at only one level, which can happen, that is also fine. But most times when we're talking to our audience, they will have different level of understanding of the topic of our expertise. So I think it's always important to remind ourselves of how can I make this as accessible as possible for them, or can I make it clear that it might be just relevant for specific people within my audience? So I love that, because you can...
That's, yeah. Can I just add one thing in there, Fab? I think, the thing is that this is what people need to do in their marketing. So many people, so many businesses, brands, whatever, they make assumptions about the audience. They assume that the reader, the watcher of the video, whatever, it knows what they're talking about. And I think there's nothing wrong in going in taking a step back and explaining things in simpler ways to people. People are being bombarded with so much information all the time. If you hit them with jargon or buzzwords or business talk or corporate speak or whatever it is, for some people it's like, okay, yeah, that may be the most fantastic video or the most brilliant blog article that you've written there, but it doesn't speak to me because it's not talking my language. So I think I would say don't ever be afraid, even when you're creating your social media content, to dial it right back as if you're talking to somebody who virtually is the first time they've heard the topic.
True. And it's also a great exercise in general. So I love that you mentioned that, because I think it's a great exercise just to kind of bring back again that understanding of which level they're at, which I love. Look at that. We sailed through our class, and now it's time to wind down. I know, right? Sailing. Now it's time to wind down with our Quickfire. We're starting with a little this or that. So that's even quicker than a Quickfire. So I'm going to tell you two things. You need to choose which one would you take or keep out of the two. Ready? So this or that.
Okay.
Spotify playlist or podcast?
Which one would I keep?
Mm-hmm. Which one? The other two?
I'm gonna choose podcast.
Love it. Excellent. Voice notes or texts?
Oh, text.
That's creating a lot of pressure. I like it. Wasn't expecting that. Reels or carousels?
Carousels.
Almost got you there. Almost got you there. I love it. The insurmountable pressure. I love it. TikTok or YouTube?
YouTube.
Nice. Almost like obviously. I like it. Memes or audio trends?
Oh God. Memes.
Yay! that speaks to me because I'm a meme person. So, and finally, newsletter or Twitter?
Oh, newsletters every time.
All day, every day. Love it. So
I may have had a different view about that, 6 months ago, but bear in mind what's been going on with Twitter recently.
It's like, sorry guys, talking out. No, it's fair. It's fair. So you survived that. That was a lot of that was high pressure, high stakes, like Mission Impossible music. Just like dun 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 dun. I'm glad that you stopped because we don't have the rights to pay for that. So excellent.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. You count the seconds to make sure that we're not going to get sued. So excellent. We're safe. Woo! We live another day. Now there is the final set of quickfires, which is a bit more about you again. I would love to first hear what is an underestimated tool that is important for your work when it comes to marketing and social media.
Interestingly, it is the notes that are on my phone. I don't think people use. I know what it is. It's the dictation. You can dictate your posts onto your notes. You can dictate your blogs onto your notes. If you've got ideas for things and you kind of suddenly think, oh, I need to write that down, just open your voice dictator and put it onto a note and it's saved. I think not enough people use it.
Love it. By the way, big fan of that myself. So I'm going to second that. That's excellent. It's almost like a tool and a hack in itself. So love it. Now, talking about phones, what is the last picture that you took on your phone?
Oh, that's easy. I just went out for lunch. So I just took a picture of my lunch.
Love it.
It's so sad, isn't it? It's so sad. But a lot of people don't bother taking photos of their food anymore because it's just so old hat. But I still like to have reminders of my meals out.
Hey, we pay for it. We go out. We get ready. We get glammed up. God damn it, if I'm not gonna take a picture of it. My avocado on toast is gonna look fantastic. Yes, I'm with you on that one. I'm sorry, I'm with you on that one. Now, this question might actually have a different answer than what you were giving us 6 months ago, just like you said. But what's your favorite social media platform right now?
It's still LinkedIn. It's still LinkedIn. I tell you why, Fab, because I have met so many lovely people through that platform. And, I just went for lunch with somebody who I met through LinkedIn. So, it's just great.
Meant to be. And what about who should we follow then on LinkedIn? Is there one person that you can recommend out of all the ones you met?
I'm going to mention him again. He gets mentioned every time. But I always mention John Aspirian. I will tell John that I've been on this podcast and tell him that I've mentioned him. I said to him, if I had £1 for every time I've mentioned him somewhere. But yeah, he was the person who really got me started on my LinkedIn journey. And he's been a good friend ever since. So yeah, John Aspirian, he has got a LinkedIn membership. If you're interested in joining, then it's really well worth it. But yeah, and Johnny's connected to some very, very good people. He's a good connector and networker, and I think that's what LinkedIn is. That's why it's such a good platform.
I agree with that. So definitely everyone go and check him out. And finally, if you could broadcast one message onto everybody's phone, what would that message say?
You're only here once, so be kind to each other.
Oh, that is so nice. That's a good one. That's an excellent reminder we don't give ourselves too often. So I'm not going to add anything to that. I'm going to leave it there. Let it sink, everyone. And Ella, thank you. Since obviously we're kind of coming to a close. Thank you so much for being here.
I've loved it, Fab. I've loved it. And you are so wonderful. It's fabulous.
Thank you. And the squishy face. Again, if you're watching, you can see, if you're listening, if you imagine I do a squishy face, which is quite common for me when I get really happy. No, and again, we met again through the wonderful lives of social media. And then it was a pleasure to have you in our graduation panel. Again, it's a great way for us also to connect with new people. So, and it was also natural progression that we will ask you to be in here. So again, it's our absolute pleasure to have you for everything. Obviously, it's such a great wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And it leads me to the final point. Welcome, which is, where can people get more of that wealth of wisdom? Let us know. Tell us more. Where should they go?
Well, my business is actually called Much More Social. So I've got a website, which is muchmoresocial.co.uk. But please do come and find me on LinkedIn. I'm Ella Orr. Come and find me on Instagram. I hang around on there a lot at Much More Social. And I actually am on TikTok as Ella Orr as well. So yeah, do come and connect with me. Do come and find me. And I would love to chat to you about personal branding or just getting started with a social media strategy, because I really do feel that social media is a fantastic way to get yourself known. It's the way to get your personal brand known.